Are you a carpenter that specializes in creating outdoor oases in North America? Well, let me introduce you to Cut and Seal. Whenever I'm doing cuts that are above ground and need repelling from moisture, I go to Cut and Seal by Micropro Sienna. It's the #1 selection for sealing up those cuts in treated wood. Available at your local Home Depot. Whatever that was, I apologize. What's up everybody, Mark here from Remarkable Woodworks, and in this week's episode I'm going to share with you the 3 main revenue streams that I've set up to run my small carpentry business. I think I'm going to call it Build Your Brand. That's a working title. Anyways, before I get into that, I still have some items left on that honey-do list from like back in March, so I'm going to cross one of those homeowner hacks off right now. Speaking of working title, the hell's a homeowner hack? So this right here is your standard deck board. I'm going to take this and attach it to this fence here so that it blends in. This right here is your standard gate latch. I'm going to attach this to my deck board. That way when it's windy on days like today, when I open the gate, I'll have something to secure it to so it won't slam shut. So I was in such a rush in my last video trying to get things set up for the photographer to get there that I forgot to throw some cut and seal on my skirting. So before I forget, I'm gonna put some of this on my deck board so that I don't have to do things twice, like I usually do. Work smarter, not harder, right? So now the deck board is sitting on top of that fence board, but when you kind of walk in, it blends in with the rest of the fence. So when I take this and sleeve that over to here, this gives me something thicker to screw into, but it also kind of camouflages into the fence. Alright, so if you saw my last video, you saw that I was frantically running around trying to wrap up things for a photo shoot that I had with Micropro Sienna, which led a lot of people to ask me the question, photo shoot? How did you score that? Wait a minute, what do you even do? Well, you know, there's the, and sometimes Carpentry? Which is true, but there's 3 different revenue streams within my carpentry business. It's probably easier if I just show you. So my business is basically broken down into 3 different sections. The first one is subcontracting. The second is content creating. And the third one is, more recently I've taken on the role of PM and HOC of SHC, which makes me the MARK of all of that. Stay with me. So for the first couple of years that I was in business, I did it like every entrepreneur does, and I just hit the ground running by myself, which meant that I was responsible for sales, design, sourcing, production, and bookkeeping, right? All of that was me. which just even sounds exhausting thinking about it. And I did that for, I don't know, like 2 years, and it just led me to getting totally burnt out. No time for hobbies, no time for family. Ultimately, all the things that you get into business for yourself in the first place, I was robbing myself of. And that's when I reached out to Dave and Joey and asked if I could come on their team as a subcontractor. I figured by coming onto their team and helping them out, I wouldn't have to go searching for jobs and doing all the sales and sourcing and all that fun stuff. I could just show up to site, do my work, and then come home. That would free up some time that I could spend with my family and creating quality content like this. I don't even need this. Don't know why I picked that up. Now for content, I don't recommend everybody to be a content creator, but I do recommend that if you are starting your own business, at the very least, you should be taking photos of your work and putting them online. Now, after doing that for a while, if you build up a big enough audience, you can scale that and then work with brands who would be willing to pay you to showcase some of their product in your content. So whenever I'm working with a brand, there's a couple things that I like to look for. What is it that they need from me? Am I gonna be able to help them? Am I gonna be able to be myself? And is there any opportunity for me to be able to give back to my audience? If you follow me on Instagram, you'll know that I really try to give back to the community that helped give me these opportunities to work with these brands. Maybe working with brands isn't something you aspire to do, and that's totally fine. But I can tell you from experience that 90% of my business, I mean actual business off of the internet, has come from just my willingness to put in a little bit of effort to put my stuff online and to build the brand that I have. It's created so many opportunities that I would never even be able to imagine how I would get to where I am today by just going through knocking on doors or the classic referrals method. And I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with that. I'm just saying that in 2020, when we're talking about how we're going to have a sustainable business in 5-10 years, where 90% of the market is going to literally live on the internet, it just makes sense. So if it makes you uncomfortable, maybe now's the time to get a little uncomfortable and start throwing your stuff out there and see what sticks. Also, when I say content creator, I'm not talking about being an influencer or whatever the hell that was at the beginning of this video. I simply mean create more content. That could be as simple as just setting up a camera on a tripod and recording yourself as you work, posting that full video or maybe stills from that video so potential clients can see how much passion goes into your projects. One thing I will recommend though, it's very easy to post before and after pictures. You want to avoid doing that. That's what everyone does. Stand out of the crowd. Maybe you take a video of the behind the scenes, the setting up, the preparation, everything that you do to create whatever it is that you create. That's what you want to document because that's what separates you and that's what's going to appeal to people that you want to work with. And the third way that I'm generating revenue in my business right now is this specialty project that I've taken on. That whole alphabet thing earlier on, that stood for project manager / head of construction for Scott's House Call, which is a YouTube series featuring Scott McGilvery. And we've been working so hard to finish up season 4, and the first half of it is actually out right now. So if you want to go check that out, I would greatly appreciate it. And again, these are just revenue streams that I've created that makes my life easier and gives me the quality of life that I'm looking for. If I could give you a piece of advice, it would be to simply just put yourself out there and take whatever opportunities get thrown your way. Now, the last piece of advice that I can give you is probably the most important, and it's just be yourself. I know it sounds cliche, but you literally can't build your own brand without being you. So just make sure that whoever you are on the camera, you're that same person off the camera as well. And that is going to be it for this week's episode. If you like this video, please do all the things that you're supposed to do when that happens. Feel free to follow me on Instagram. I love you all equally, and I'll see you when I see you. Now, if you're asking yourself, I wonder how he got involved in all of these different opportunities. And the answer, my friends, luck. Good old-fashioned luck. I feel like I'm turning into the Gary V of carpentry. Let's go make some sawdust, shall we?